Have you ever wondered how a simple daily routine can quietly shape your entire future? Picture an early morning. You're sitting by your kitchen window, letting sunlight warm your face, the silence comforting. You have your pill organizer open. Each tiny compartment is filled with hope, a promise of waking up pain-free, a night of better sleep, fewer worries, a life a bit smoother than the day before. You trust these medications. You trust your doctor's advice, the familiar shape of the pills, the instructions that guide your life like a quiet rhythm. Maybe, over the years, these routines become invisible, habits so ingrained you can't remember when you last questioned them. But what if, hidden within these routines, there was an unseen cost quietly accumulating? A price not paid by your joints or your heart, but by your memories. Those pieces of laughter on a summer night, the faces of old friends, the story of your most cherished day. Imagine for a moment that some of the very medications designed to help you could, over months and years, slowly cloud your mind, not just by chance, but by a subtle change within your brain. This isn't a warning born from internet gossip or panic. Behind every subtle risk I'll reveal tonight stands a wall of careful science. Hundreds of studies, thousands of lives, real data. 4 groups of medications, each so common that most households have at least one. Anticholinergics for allergies and overactive bladder, PM pain relievers with sedating antihistamines, benzodiazepines for anxiety and sleep, and certain antidepressants once considered the gold standard. This is the truth. No senior should lose years of independence, forget precious moments, or surrender their clarity to avoidable causes. The power to protect your mind and independence lies in understanding what's in your medicine cabinet and opening a real conversation with your healthcare provider. If this kind of content makes sense to you, subscribe now. You have nothing to lose by learning and everything to gain: your dignity, your independence, and the beautiful story you are still writing. Block 1. The thin line between healing and harm. How aging changes the medication equation. Let's pause here. What happens to medications in the body of a 60-year-old isn't the same as in the body of a 30-year-old. Imagine pouring tea into a fine porcelain cup versus an old, well-used mug. Each vessel reacts differently, and with age, the glaze protecting the brain fades, making it more vulnerable. As years pass, the body's organs process medications more slowly. The liver's filter becomes less efficient. The kidneys drain more gently, and the protective barrier that shields the brain grows, little by little, more permeable. Medications that once spent only a few hours in your bloodstream can now linger, overlap, and build up. Some cross into the brain and disrupt the intricate dance of signals, a dance that keeps your thoughts crisp, your memories within reach, your spirit rooted in the world. This is why certain drugs, especially those I'll describe, become so risky. It's not your fault. It's not your doctor's fault. It's the nature of aging. The same dose that calmed your mind years ago now brings a heavier cost. What matters isn't guilt or regret, it's vigilance. Understanding the silent ways aging changes your reaction to medication can rewrite your future. The risks are invisible at first. A little drowsiness, a slip of the tongue, losing track of time. But over months or years, what's dismissed as just getting older could actually be a side effect, possible to prevent or reverse. This is not about living in fear, but becoming the guardian of your own mind. Block 2, Case Study, Mrs. Evelyn's Fog. A hidden story in every family. Let me tell you about someone like you. Let's call her Evelyn. Evelyn is 72, proud of her independence, proud to still drive and bake cookies for her grandchildren every other Sunday. She has a history of allergies, a touchy bladder, some insomnia, nothing major. Like many, her medicine cabinet is full: allergy pills, a sleep aid, something for her back pain at night. At first it was little things. She was a bit more forgetful, couldn't remember where she parked, mixed up a grandchild's name, felt too sleepy to finish her crossword. Her family teased her, but quietly, her daughter grew uneasy. They visited Evelyn's doctor, who carefully reviewed each medication. Together they discovered 3 drugs, all with strong anticholinergic effects, working in concert. One for allergies, one for sleep, and a nighttime pain reliever labeled PM. The doctor explained that, especially after 60, these could accumulate and affect her brain's chemistry directly responsible for memory and focus. The family and doctors switched Evelyn to non-anticholinergic alternatives, and over a few months, her sharpness returned. She still had trouble with that crossword, old habits. But she hadn't called her grandson by the dog's name in weeks. It wasn't age. It was the pills. There are countless Evelyns across the world, each with a silent risk. If you don't see yourself in her story, perhaps you recognize a loved one. Block 3. Anticholinergics, the subtle saboteurs. Now, let's pull back the curtain on the first class. Anticholinergic medications. These drugs block acetylcholine, a chemical messenger the brain uses to keep neurons firing together in harmony. Acetylcholine is especially crucial for forming and retrieving memories, solving problems, staying alert. When you block it, the result can be like static on a radio, a fuzzy, disconnected signal. How common are these drugs? More common than most believe. You'll find them in medications marketed for allergies. Think diphenhydramine, chlorpheniramine. Overactive bladder, some forms of nausea, and gastrointestinal upset. And in many sleep aids labeled as PM. Even certain muscle relaxants and old antidepressants fit this mold. It's rarely one medication alone that tips the balance. Many dangerous drug interactions are invisible, especially when you're prescribed one medicine by your internist and by another over the counter, both with strong anticholinergic effects. Together, they cause something researchers call cumulative anticholinergic burden. Multiple studies, including large clinical trials and expert reviews, have linked even moderate cumulative use to significantly higher risks of confusion, delirium, long-term memory loss, and dementia. Symptoms may start small: dry mouth, constipation, blurred vision, maybe a hint of confusion. But with continued use, the risks compound. What was once a little forgetfulness can snowball into a pervasive mental fog, robbing you of the independence you value most. Never stop any prescribed medication suddenly. Instead, bring all your meds, prescription and over-the-counter, to your doctor or pharmacist and ask, is there an option that doesn't block memory? Often, there is a safer alternative waiting to be found. If this topic fascinates you as much as it does us, comment what surprised you most so far. Comment: I choose to take care of myself. Block 4. Nighttime traps, the double-edged sword of PM pain relievers. Now let's step into another familiar scene, perhaps even a nightly ritual. You've had a long day, maybe your back aches, sleep won't come easily, and so you reach for a trusted PM pain reliever. It promises gentle rest and a break from pain, all wrapped in the familiar comfort of an over-the-counter solution. But what most don't realize is these seemingly harmless remedies contain not only a painkiller, but also a strong sedating antihistamine, often diphenhydramine, the same powerful anticholinergic we discussed before. Taken occasionally, these drugs may create just a gentle haze the next morning. But used night after night, they build up invisibly, turning what should be a healing rest into a persistent mental trap. Let's imagine Harold, 74, who prided himself on waking at sunrise for a daily walk. After a winter injury, he began taking a nighttime pain reliever with a PM label. Soon, his daughter noticed a new slowness to his movements and confusion about their meeting places. He blamed poor sleep, but the real culprit was the helpful pill on his bedside table. Older adults process sedative antihistamines more slowly, so each dose lingers, piling up in the brain, making every new night's dose more potent than the last. Over months, this can lead to persistent grogginess, vivid and disturbing dreams, confusion, and even delirium. The link to an increased risk of dementia is now well established. Why are PM pain relievers so seductive? Because they're carefully marketed as a harmless way to ease pain and promote sleep. Their real effect, especially in brains over 60, is akin to adding thick curtains between your thoughts and the morning sun. Each night, a little less daylight makes it through. Instead, ask your doctor about non-sedating alternatives for pain relief and sleep hygiene techniques that can replace sedatives. Sometimes restoring a natural sleep rhythm or addressing pain with non-anticholinergic options can clear the morning fog and rekindle that early morning energy. Block 5. The slippery slope of benzodiazepines and sedative hypnotics. Now let's turn to another class of medicines often prescribed with the best intentions, benzodiazepines and related sedative hypnotics. They go by names like diazepam, temazepam, lorazepam, alprazolam. For many, these pills offer precious relief, a way to calm nerves before a dentist's appointment, to soften crushing anxiety, to finally sleep after weeks of restlessness. It's easy to understand the appeal. These medications work. At first, a single dose may bring comfort and quiet the mind. But for seniors, the cost of repeated use is rarely discussed until the harm sets in. Imagine Samuel, age 68, who began using a small dose of temazepam after his wife passed, struggling with restless nights and anxious days. Over 2 years, his prescription quietly increased. He grew tired, less engaged, prone to episodes of forgetfulness, so strange his children suspected early dementia. What truly happened? Samuel's brain, already more sensitive due to age, was overwhelmed by a drug designed for short-term relief. Here's what the science shows. Benzodiazepines slow brain activity, and in younger bodies, that effect fades quickly. But with age, metabolism slows, and the brain barrier weakens, so each dose lasts longer, and effects become more pronounced, especially confusion, drowsiness, and memory lapses. The greatest danger lurks in the pattern, not from the occasional doctor-supervised use during emergencies, but in the quiet, regular nightly dose that becomes a habit. Long-term use in older adults is strongly linked to an increased risk of cognitive decline and dementia. Add the risk of falls, fractures, and interactions with other medicines, and you have a recipe for needless suffering. Feel caught? You are not alone, and withdrawing from benzodiazepines requires careful, doctor-guided tapering. If you use these medications, advocate for yourself. Ask your doctor to evaluate alternative treatments, such as gentle sleep hygiene routines, cognitive behavioral therapy, or newer, safer medications intended for seniors. Yep. Block 6. When the cure clouds the mind. Tricyclic antidepressants in the aging brain depression is a shadow that follows many through later life. Treating it is non-negotiable. Mental health is as crucial as physical health at every age. But with treatment comes a choice, and for many older adults, the first antidepressant offered may not be the safest. Tricyclic antidepressants, like amitriptyline and nortriptyline, have helped millions, but at a heavy price for seniors. These medications, while effective for low mood, are powerful anticholinergics, exerting very strong effects on key brain chemicals. For a brain already experiencing subtle changes of aging, these drugs can turn fog into storm clouds. Take Linda, age 70, who started amitriptyline years ago for chronic pain and insomnia. Over time, she noticed not just a dry mouth and constipation, but confusion in busy places, struggles to remember new recipes, and frustration matching her daughter's stories to familiar names. The cost was cumulative. and only after switching to a modern antidepressant, without those anticholinergic effects, did her spark return. Multiple studies now demonstrate a clear link. Older adults who use tricyclic antidepressants long-term are more likely to experience confusion, memory loss, and an increased risk of dementia compared to those who receive alternatives such as SSRIs. These older drugs remain on the market because of their effectiveness, but in later years, their risks often outweigh the benefits, especially since safer, equally effective alternatives are now available. Key message: never abruptly stop or switch antidepressant medication yourself, as withdrawal symptoms can be as devastating as the illness itself. Bring your concerns to your doctor, armed with knowledge and the right questions. Can I try a safer alternative? Is there a new option better suited for my age? Block 7. The accumulation trap. When medications secretly work together. Let's imagine your brain is a library, every memory a book on a tidy shelf. Each medication you take is like a set of sticky notes. One or two make little difference, but over time, too many cover the titles, smudging words and leaving even the most precious volumes hard to find. Now, think about how easy it is for things to pile up. An allergy pill for spring, a sleep aid for those restless nights, a bladder medication prescribed months ago for a sudden issue, all mixed with a daily prescription for blood pressure or mood. On their own, each drug might be manageable. Together, they become a force. This is called cumulative burden. This cumulative effect is what makes aging and polypharmacy, a fancy word for many medicines, so dangerous. The brain, already working harder as we get older, now faces a swarm of medications with overlapping anticholinergic or sedative effects. No single doctor may notice the big picture. Pharmacies and specialists rarely see your total list. Picture George, 77, living independently with a dozen pill bottles on the kitchen shelf. Individually, each medication did what it was supposed to do: control allergies, help with sleep, reduce urinary urgency. But gradually, his days blurred together, conversations faded, and his world shrank from a bustling city of connections to a quiet room shared with confusion. The true risk emerges not from a single bad pill, but from how these well-intended treatments layer, night after night, quietly overwhelming your natural mental defenses. That's why regular and honest medication reviews, where someone looks at all your prescriptions and over-the-counter habits, can literally save years of sharpness and connection. Never feel embarrassed to bring every bottle to your next appointment. The act of laying it all out might be the single most powerful defense against unnecessary mental decline. Block 8. Action steps. Reclaiming your clarity with smart medication management. So, what can you do today, really, practically, to protect your mind while treating your body? Start by imagining yourself as the chief detective of your own story. Your first clue: a detailed, up-to-date list of every product you take. Prescription, over-the-counter, herbal, supplement, topical lotions. Write it on paper, type it in your phone, or use a pill organizer with labeled compartments. Next, share this full list with your doctor or pharmacist. Ask boldly, which of these, alone or together, can make me drowsy, confused, or affect my memory? Insist on plain language. If the answer isn't clear, ask your trusted provider to check a drug interaction database. Many pharmacists can quickly scan a list for cumulative anticholinergic burden or sedative risks and suggest lower risk options. For every nighttime sleep aid, see if a non-sedating pain reliever would suffice. For allergies, explore non-drowsy antihistamines. For mood, consider newer SSRIs over old tricyclics, unless there's a specific reason. Just as important, work to enhance non-drug approaches wherever possible. Regular physical activity, healthy sleep patterns, meaningful social interactions, and tailored therapy for anxiety or depression are more powerful for long-term memory than most realize. Long walks, crossword puzzles, and a daily call with a friend may seem small, but over time, they fortify your brain better than most bottles ever could. And above all, never make sudden changes alone. Always seek guidance on how to safely adjust, taper, or substitute medications. The right path forward is collaborative, patient-centered, and focused on what matters most to you. Block 9, the power of the right. Question, conversations that save lives. If information is power, then the right question is your sword and shield. Imagine the courage it takes for someone like Anna, 69, to sit with her doctor and gently ask, "Could these medicines affect my memory?" It's not always easy. Doctors are busy. Time is short, and you may feel foolish for asking. But this one question, especially when paired with your careful list, can change everything. Great clinicians welcome these conversations because they know that the patient who advocates for clarity and independence is the one most likely to thrive. If you sense your doctor isn't familiar with the risks of anticholinergics or sedatives in older adults, ask to speak to a geriatric pharmacist or seek a second opinion. There's no room for shame when it comes to your mind. Don't settle for, "It's just part of aging," if what you're noticing is a dramatic or sudden change in clarity. Insist on a medication review. If you're a caregiver, maybe a spouse, a child, a loyal friend, be the voice for your loved one when they can't. Record changes, share observations, and push gently for answers. Your healthcare team's job is to help you live the fullest, brightest life possible. Sometimes, the bravest move is just to bring the question to the table. Share this video with someone special in your life. Help us build a community where everyone values their mind as much as their body. Block 10, Returning the Light. Stories of hope, resilience, and informed choices. Let's finish where we began, with hope. Despite all these risks, thousands of seniors reclaim sharpness and independence every year with a single intervention, a careful medication review, and a few tweaks. For many, switching from an old sleep aid to a gentle, non-habit-forming routine means the difference between confusion and clarity. Others find energy and engagement returning once an unnecessary anticholinergic is tapered away. There's no shame in needing help, and no weakness in advocating for your mind. Picture Evelyn, now baking cookies more confidently, Linda smiling through new recipes, Samuel joining book club conversations again. These are not exceptions, they are what's possible when knowledge meets courage. Aging is inevitable. Losing yourself to unnecessary cognitive decline is not. The choices you make today, tracking your meds, asking brave questions, supporting those you love, create ripples of clarity that last for years. There's immense power in every act of self-advocacy, every informed conversation, every gentle refusal to accept that confusion just happens. Your story matters. Let every day be a fresh page, each memory an illustration, every clear thought a victory you've earned. Help us spread this message. Share with someone you love. Leave a comment. I choose clarity. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Becoming the guardian of your own mind. Let's take a step back and remember what binds every story in this video together. Not fear, but empowerment. You've learned how commonplace medications, meant for relief, can quietly cloud memory, slow thought, and over years, rob precious independence. You've heard stories of risk and recovery, seen yourself and your loved ones in these examples, and most crucially, discovered the questions and tools that put you back in the driver's seat. This journey isn't about blaming doctors or demonizing medicines or making you afraid to treat everyday pains. It's about restoring the dialogue between mind, body, and care team, about making every decision visible, understood, and collaborative. If these medicines are essential, take them knowingly, but demand regular check-ins and be open to change. Reach out today. Call your provider, gather your list, open the conversation. If you're caring for someone at risk, be their memory's best advocate. The difference between struggling in silence and thriving could be just one appointment, one question, one switch away. No one should lose themselves to avoidable causes. Your memories, your clarity, your relationships, they are worth every effort. Stay curious. Stay open. Stay strong. Always consult your healthcare provider. If this video has helped you, subscribe now. Knowledge is your best medicine.